Everyone, and welcome to another update on the market. For today, I decided to cover British pound versus US dollar. I will speak about the gold market, crude oil, Bitcoin versus US dollar, and I will also speak about Bitcoin. I will start with the British pound versus US dollar first. We have lots of we had very big activity yesterday after the CPI announcement in the US, and there was a big trap for the buyers basically, and a big rejection. We can see also on the pound dollar, and I will just go for this one. So what initially happened here is that market, we have our moving averages here, 10, we have 10, 20, 200-day moving average, we have 50-day moving average. Basically the market traded higher. At this point, the market looked like we can have a false breakout completion, but after a CPI, we had a strong rejection and close on the low yesterday, which is a strong sign of weakness. And what happened is that market had this big down bar going through all of this trading range. You can see this is the hourly time frame on the top right corner. So this morning we had more like a bear flag. So coming into this the opening of the London session, and then there was a sell-off in the perfect bear flag on the hourly time frame, and the context of the follow-through of this big reversal day from yesterday. So based on this a strong downside momentum, and structurally this re-break of this trading range, there is a very big chance, and we have high odds for the retest of the low at 1.2520 mark. And that is also the rising 20-week moving average. So that will be the first objective. And of course, we also have the tail and pin bar lows around 1.2500. So I say 1.2500 will be very important level and downside objective for the intraday traders, let's say. And then the next downside pivot is set around 1.2450 mark. Now, speaking of the gold market, we can see that there is also really similar to the gold. We had a trading range and the breakdown. Yesterday there was an outside day close on the low, and we so far have a follow through. We can see here in the hourly there was a very tight consolidation at this point, and that market traded basically had this downside breakout on hourly time frame. And you can see that market is trying to trade and take this tail from on the weekly time frame at 1973. So there is that will be a downside objective, 1973, and also there is a 1967 mark as well, and to watch for a downside objective and intraday objective for, on the gold. There is no sign of strength, there is no sign of reversal at this point, so the sellers are pretty much in control and momentum is intact. So downside expectation based on the current condition and what we have so far. Now, speaking of the crude oil, I see potential here for the further rally, and at least for the retest of the 79.22 mark. You can see here the daily time frame that market started. You can see here the rising lows, and at this point the market traded higher. We had more like this 3-day balance, and there was a pin bar tail high, and there was a breakout yesterday. So it seems like the crude oil is really strong, and it wasn't that affected that much after the CPI announcement yesterday. So there is a potential for that retest of 79, and even a higher prices might be in the play. If there is a momentum and the breakout of 79.60, then the crude oil can go even up to 83 or even 86 mark on the short-term perspective. Hourly is also holding a rising 20 exponential pretty well and building higher lows. So buyers definitely in control short-term on the crude oil. Now, speaking of the Bitcoin versus US dollar, the market took this pin bar a tail, and we had still building, trading above our moving averages, 10 and 20 day moving averages. The hourly time frame had this sell-off. We spoke about the potential for the sell-off before any rally, but after the sell-off, market regained the power, and I can see that recently we broke like this more like a flag pattern, right? So there was like this bull flag, and there was a breakout. So there is a potential chance for the retest of 50,400 mark, and eventually on the higher time frames, the next main pivot level is set at 52,000 mark. And speaking of the dollar index, we can see here the strength at the bull flag on the dollar index. Market is just rallying, and market took this last week tail, previous week tail, and there is definitely a chance for the dollar index to continue higher in next period towards the 105.95. The daily also actually had into the CPI, had this bull flag, and the market just rallied and still keep going. So there's a definite chance for more strength in the dollar index. And that will be all, guys, for this update. I hope that you did enjoy. Have a good trading day, and speak to you from tomorrow morning.